Hello there, everybody, and welcome. Abusing your wife is okay, but cheating isn't. Neither is
I'm not
You're
okay.
saying
just saying
no,
like,
no, no, no,
what
no.
if
Wait,
the
wait, wait.
guy is like beating the wife,
Yeah, I'm
and
asking
then
you what
like
you
the
think.
kids
What
are
you
like
recommend for
fucking
those people.
retarded?
Because
They love Black Lives
Because
Matter.
I never.
He's mad cringe. He's making their side look worse, and they don't even know it. Mad cringe. So I tweeted this, what we're about to say, and it was so egregiously dumb. We thought this has to be taken out of context.
I'm like,
bro.
there's no way it's in context.
There's no way this is in context. I went myself to go watch the entire podcast and make sure I found the entire context, especially because people love to say that people like us like take things out of context. And sadly, it's all in context.
If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and like values marriage a lot, and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From
Would
who?
you? From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
It's so
really.
rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on,
I'm just,
go on.
My point is, I'm
Hypothetically.
just, even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
It is. Go on.
if it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing.
can't
You can.
I mean,
Can't.
why would you even consider such a
You
thing? Can't do it.
Absolutely not.
Like, obviously, you have to
Abusive?
keep going. It's
Abusive?
so obvious. Okay.
No, you stay.
Yeah, you have to stay.
There's no
That would
such
be
thing
stupid.
as divorce. Like, what are we saying right now?
Like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows.
man,
You can't divorce.
for real
You can
married.
you can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like.
The hell do you mean it's
abusive?
not a
You gotta
real thing?
endure. People are too.
You want to stick into the
wanna
relationship?
Nigga, if I come home and smack you every day, say you're the bitch, right? I smack you every day. You're not gonna like that. So you gonna wanna leave. Divorce isn't real.
Are
What?
just-
See, I
like,
mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just pussies. Everybody fucking quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why
Bro.
I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special. And the reality is, people just haven't learned to fucking endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you.
I'll accept advice from any who can't follow a simple expression like keep your fucking mouth pointing. Wait. Keep you thing mouth pointing and close to the mouth. Like what?
You guys had hard times in a relationship. Any relationship has hard time, and it
Okay.
is what it is. You need to push through, and you need
What if
to
the
endure
kid
because
Okay, what he's saying, I guess, at its core, is true. A lot of people don't really endure, which is fine.
I guess
They
that
just
makes
don't.
sense,
You don't want
but
the
not
same
the
thing.
abusing
At the end of
part.
the day, if you don't want a partner for life, you're not gonna endure. Like, you're gonna quit. That's true. But
But to the specific example that she is
That they're
giving,
using,
which
yeah.
is basically some form of
Abusive
bopping,
relationship.
it could be verbal.
or that too.
I kind of just
Both
assume that
ways.
when people say abuse now.
Okay,
But like,
either one.
so instead of saying like you should figure out how to stop it,
No, he's saying
he thinks the solution is
endure.
to endure abuse rather than to solve for it.
Just take it. Just take it.
forever. By the way, just take it from now till when you die, bro.
Sorry, I can't. I'm gonna have to take the more serious approach in this because I've already heard this and I laughed at it when I first heard it, but now hearing it again is actually very disturbing. And
Yeah.
what he's about to continue to say is also very, very disturbing.
because we're in this.
Getting abused.
Hold on, because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's fucking transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool, okay, I get.
Did that
What?
sound like a very nuanced example, or did she just say young woman in a relationship with in a marriage with kids being abused?
Yeah, you're talking about two separate things. The thing he's doing this thing is it's a great argumentative skill. You do it when you talk about basketball all the time. Where if you say 7 different things, it actually is very challenging to respond to all of them without your opinion. You don't know how to stay on topic, so you just branch out like this, and to attack all of them is impossible.
Yeah, but she just said
Very specific thing.
She said very specific, but
And
it's-
he's
it's
talking about
semi-
something completely different.
It's completely different, even more specific. But just for people who don't know, roughly 20% of
Domestic violence is very common in American families, and almost 20% of all marriages and intimate partnership couples slap, shove, hit, or otherwise assault each other. Emotional abuse, verbal threats, humiliating or degrading remarks, and controlling behavior is even more common.
marriages there is some form of spousal abuse.
Like
20%.
like physical.
Either one.
Oh, okay.
And that's what's being reported as well. This is such a unique circumstance. Like I don't understand. 20% of the time, people get on these podcasts and they talk about very specific men of like a caliber of character that rarely exists. Top 10 to 15% of men. We're talking about 20% of relationships, and now all of a sudden it's too specific for you to actually have a conversation about.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like that one fucking minute
but I'm asking
situation.
for anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what
give
I,
up
I'll tell you what
Endure.
I
I
would
don't.
do.
That's.
I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what
Okay.
I would do. If my daughter was in a relationship with a guy and she gets married to him and he starts abusing her a
Kill the
year
guy.
into it, I'm gonna be showing up on their doorstep and teaching him some lessons.
Exactly.
That's what I would do. I
Okay,
also would
but,
not if I didn't have the capacity to do that for some reason, I don't know. I wouldn't want my daughter in.
As a rad fam, listening to those feminists was hard. The best thing Aaron and Pixie could do for feminism is stop going on these podcasts. I don't know who Aaron and Pixie is.
In that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it and they ended up raising healthy, successful families too.
They
Can
are
I ask,
extreme.
can I
I
ask
agree- I
another-
agree with that,
I want to ask
but-
like one more.
The solution is not to endure, nigga. If
Yeah.
you're going through a struggle or a pain, the solution is to overcome, to solve for. Enduring is just
Enduring,
lasting it out.
yes,
And
literally.
hoping like maybe he doesn't want to beat me no more. Maybe he
That's
doesn't want to
literally-
talk shit. Maybe he doesn't want to physically and verbally abuse me no more. I'm not sure. Like maybe eventually if I just keep sticking there, he'll figure it out.
They're not even saying
That's
like try to
insane.
solve a problem.
They're not.
They're just saying endure. Like this is happening. Just let it ride it out. Just ride it out.
And do you think the real solution in that situation, like that's a difficult position to be in? You think your daughter would want her dad to solve the problem? You can go there and teach that nigga some lessons, really?
Because as soon as you leave, then what's going to happen after that? Like,
That's
y'all,
true.
when people speak like this, it's like very clear. You all never actually been around a woman or anybody who's been in these type of circumstances or even cared about this happening to someone that you actually know and love. The idea that you're going to show up to someone's doorstep, you're going to teach him a lesson, and then after you leave, then what happens after that? He's going to then go back to doing what he's going to do and be even more upset to then further convince your daughter to never tell you about the things that he's continuously doing because he doesn't want you to teach him a lesson anymore. It's not even real conversations y'all are having, bro.
Also, it's just not true. Like, unless there's like a very faith-based reason, like it's not like that guy's Catholic.
Okay, so let me reveal that. Yes, they all are Catholic, they're all faith-based, and the idea of the gentleman in the black and white shirt, his most ideal circumstance is that things like this would never really occur in a faith-based society. If you have more community, then people would just hold everyone more accountable. But when people are separated from community and they're trying to deal things on their own, things are like these are much more liable to happen because then the man or the woman, whoever's doing the bopping, doesn't believe that there's anybody who's going to hold him accountable.
That's such a dumb argument.
It's not only is a dumb argument. FYI, for people who don't know, back in the day when it was more community based, physical abuse was actually much more common and
That's
to the
true.
point where it was actually almost treated as if like a normality, like something that back in the day that was just something that the family dealt with, not the community. The family dealt with. It was something that
During most of the 1900s, domestic violence was acknowledged but treated as a private family matter. Family violence became an issue with the influence of women's liberation movement in 1960s and 1970s.
went on in the household, and that's how they wanted to deal with it. I know this not only because I've heard personal examples from older people openly stating that back in the day, putting their hands on their wives was socially acceptable. Also, there's several studies and research done on it, but also they used to make fun of it and make light of it in TV shows as well back in the day.
Years ago, you did an interview, which may come back to haunt you. You know what I'm going to say, right?
No.
Okay. You did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist. It's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No,
Bruh.
not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good. I
don't think it's bad?
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
Or what would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. Yeah? They want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again, get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
To give her a good slap.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the idea that this is like some new this new phenomenon that's now being acceptable or swept underneath the rug because the community-based society is starting to deteriorate. It's completely incorrect.
But why blame the community though? Like if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're the same faith as you and y'all both practice, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. Y'all both celebrate the faith together. So that's all that should matter. You don't need the whole community to be on the same page with you for abuse to not be the result.
Scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus
Bro,
himself
what?
said.
But it wasn't
Jesus, hold on,
illegal.
hold on. Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself.
I told you it gets worse.
No, I heard it. You know what's
I
crazy?
told
I
you
seen
it
the
gets
clip.
worse.
I seen the clip and it's still surprising.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
It's still surprising.
We saw this clip and was like, no, this is the way that it was cut up. It was like, no, this is taken out of context. I have to go watch the entire podcast. I watched an hour and 30 of this podcast and was like, no, they did not say that, bro. I refuse to believe that somebody got in front of a microphone and said this, bro.
I just thought it was cut up in a way where it sounded like it was back to back, but it really wasn't. It was combos in between that was cut out.
The combo in between was endure. That was a combo. That was endure the abuse. That's what the combo was. Now we're about to get into the cheating, and all of a sudden, that endurance goes out the window.
Yeah, I want to hear it in one motion. Now that we're not watching the clip, I need to hear it.
Through it, and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
They
Can
are
I ask-
extreme.
can
I
ask
agree- I
another-
agree with that,
I want to ask
but-
like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think
But it wasn't
Jesus,
illegal.
hold on. Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in
Endure but hold accountable. There's abuse in a relationship. The abusive partner should get help. Abuse, get out of there. Cheating, for sure, get out of there. For sure, get out of there for both, because I ain't dealing with none of that.
cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Or
children,
cheating, sorry. You think that
Cheating
cheating
is
is worse than physical abuse?
for the
Sorry.
children, yes.
Absolutely.
I think I'm not going to say this
divorce-
is worse.
divorce
I mean,
is worse for the children.
I already
Is
said.
cheating
I already
worse than
said that
physical
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave.
Wait, hold on. That's actually important.
For the children.
wait,
I already
is
said.
cheating
I already
worse than
said that
physical
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like, I mean, if it's a brief temporary thing, like
What if it's mental abuse?
Okay, now
Do you
It's
think
less
if
cut and
it's-
dry.
if it's
You
cheating
are
and
setting
mental
your
abuse?
child up for failure.
Like, fuck.
I have to actually think about somebody's mental. Fuck, I gotta think of how my wife's mental is doing in a relationship. Fuck.
Who would have
I
thought?
can't get away with just yelling at her all the time. Jeez. But as you can clearly see, when it came to the wife cheating, it was immediately like, oh no.
Yeah, nah.
That's obvious. No, like, what are you talking about? Before we go through all these loops of enduring, it might be a phase. It could be only a short period of time. And trust me, that's just way better. Like this idea, like I've seen a bunch of anecdotal evidence of I've seen a bunch of families where somebody was doing a bunch of beating and then all of a sudden, but they endured that and it's fine. Like it's fine. Like it was just a phase. It's a phase. The person who is being the victim of that abuse, they don't know it's a phase. They don't know that this is temporary.
Yeah, they
Even
don't know
if it
when it's
is,
gonna
they
stop.
have no idea about that. And what's even crazier is that you believe that they then went on to raise healthy families. Says who? How do you know that? How do you know the children who watch one of their parents get physically or mentally bopped? Like how do you know that? Emotionally, spiritually?
Yeah, bro, I'd be chilling. So whenever they start, like, before, when everybody used to live here, like, they would start arguing, and then they'll go past the point of arguing, and they would start, like, fighting, and then I would have to go and break it up. That shit is annoying, bro. It's a waste of my time. I do not want to get into fights, bro. I don't want to break up no fights. I don't want to listen to no fights. So you just shut up, bro. Like, sometimes you just gotta shut up, bro. Like,
All that stuff. How do you know?
I'm talking
that they
about, like,
went on to
family members
raise
fighting each
healthy
other.
Children, like I don't understand that. That is such a and on top of that, it's so crazy because right now he's getting frustrated. He's like, man, we keep getting more specific and more specific. But you just came up with a very specific anecdotal evidence that you only know, and now all of a sudden that's justifiable for your answer. Now all of a sudden she's instead of she getting more specific with the type of abuse, and now you're like, fuck, man, women don't really have mentals. Like, what are we even talking about right now? Like, why do I
The
most
part
care?
that is like the part that makes you look a little hypocritical, maybe say a lot of hypocritical, is when it came to abuse, you knew it was gonna make you look bad, and so you referred to Jesus. You said Jesus said it's permissible. So in this instance, what did Jesus say? Since y'all both follow the faith, what did he say? Why not just go by why are y'all inputting your own opinion into this? It's been said, it's written in a book. You don't have to add on to it. If you believe in your faith, just follow what it says.
As well, if you stay in like these abusive
That's
marriages.
not true.
Yes, it is, because you're literally every single psychologist. We can like Google it right now if you want. Will agree that the patterns that you have at home are going to replicate in their future, right? So if this child gets used to seeing their other loved ones and probably them being talked down upon, being treated badly, they normalize that behavior. So you're setting
it does get passed down generations.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Get some help.
You're setting them up
to
for
go,
failure in the
again,
workplace and relationships.
I just want you guys to understand this is like the reason why I sit on this podcast, and
You guys should just start a fight club and settle differences. Nothing is resolved and nothing will matter after the fight.
Still, the virtues that I do is because it's like I think we need more righteous biblical masculinity in the world, where you actually have good men that are going to be good leaders of their households. They're not going to beat their wives or emotionally or mentally abuse them or any of these things. Like that's why I continue to do this podcast with Brian.
No, I can respect that.
He has a very respect. But again, it's this utopian mind state that's not reality. And so, yeah, I 100% agree. 100%. I'm happy that you are trying to go for that type of world, but that's never been the world. That's not the most ideal way to build something. What was actually much more productive is to identify certain aspects that can happen in reality. Things that have shown to happen over a course of several decades.
And because we need to make men great again, so that we don't have these situations continue.
But you're talking about liberal men who would get epically triggered like snowflakes.
And
they'd be like, "You're equal to me. I'm gonna beat you up."
But there's probably gonna be cases.
They keep like shitting out these like conservative talking points, but which is cool when it makes sense. But when it doesn't make sense, that's fun. Like he just said a whole bunch of keywords there.
Yeah.
He just said keywords, and it had
Those
nothing
are
to do
liberal
with
words who gets triggered, and you're equal to me. Snowflake. Like, nigga, what?
Yo, come on, bro.
Come on,
bro.
You
look, because when people, so I was watching this Jubilee video, right? Mm-hmm. I think it was female anti-feminist versus male feminist.
I did want to watch that, but how long was it? It was pretty long.
Jubilee
I did want to watch that, though.
Mm-hmm. I think it was female.
Yeah, it was pretty long. I did want to watch this, though. Just to see how like, what the side's perspective was.
Anti-feminist versus male feminist.
Nice to watch it.
There was two women that have interest. There was one woman who was an anti-feminist that was just spitting out talking points. Everything she said, you could tell she gathered it from Twitter. She wasn't adding shit to the convo. And there was another one that was having like a real intellectual conversation where you felt like he was learning some shit or like giving you a decent perspective. Whether or not you agreed, you could be like, oh shit, you could tell some thought went into the way she believed that. Yeah. And she wasn't just spitting out some shit that she heard someone else say or her friend say, or you can say it at the kickback because you know it's gonna get some fucking laughs because that's a generic talking point. That's what he's doing right now. That's what he's doing. Like actually a couple of them have done that.
Yes.
Where it's like, it doesn't even have to, the combo doesn't matter. You can just say, these fucking liberal snowflake fucks. And everyone's gonna be like, Like, and on the other side, you could do the same thing. Where you could be like, red pill Andrew Tate fucks. It's like, bro, y'all not adding shit to the conversation when y'all spitting the same fucking talking point. We've heard 15,000 other people say it on nonstop.
I think that it's actually very important that those people are on the same panel with the other people so you can clearly understand the difference in intelligence and ignorance that we see from both sides, because it is needed when somebody just blurts out something dumb when we're having a very serious conversation, because they look even more dumb.
Yeah, and also it's
much more dumb.
Proof that there's no real independent thought that goes into shit like this. It's just picking sides.
This is where there are like really, really horrible marriages. And my question is, would you recommend those people to like choose happiness and like divorce and try to like be on their own because being in the relationship makes them really, really unhappy, maybe even suicidal, who knows? Do you think they should rather stay just because?
Bro, if you're at the point of suicide, just leave. The fuck you mean? Should they stay?
But you're
I think they should go to church and return to God.
Like you're taking a very
Return to God.
You're taking a very wait, hold on.
Let's say if your partner is being really, really, really bad to you, and there's like so many things that he needs therapy, but he's not doing it. Do you think that the wife in that case should stick around for that, even though it might be really bad for her and the child?
But you're taking an extremely niche. Hold on, you're taking an extremely niche example. You are.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well,
I think there's a lot of.
So listen, you're taking an extremely niche example and you're blanket statementing it for like the entire solution
I'm not saying
of
it at all.
divorce.
I think
you are though.
No, I'm not saying.
But you're saying like, what if the guy is like beating the wife?
Yeah, I'm asking
and then
you
like
what you
the
think,
kids are like fucking retarded.
Wait.
Bro, she's asking for that specific viewpoint. Bro, just answer the fucking question.
They love Black Lives Matter.
What does Black Lives Matter have to do with it?
Never.
He's mad cringe.
The hell?
He's making their side look worse, and they don't even know it. Mad cringe. And what's crazy is she's not even specific anymore. She's broadened it. She just said, what if the partner is really, really bad?
And he's not trying to get better.
And he's not trying to get better. It doesn't necessarily have to be bopping. He could just be drinking alcohol all day, or he could be on drugs, or he could not be trying to go out and get an actual job and contribute, or he could be mentally or verbally abused. Like it's a bunch of other things. She had a blanketed statement.
Yeah.
A partner is being really, really, really bad, regardless of which one. Should any of them leave? And then literally he's making it seem as if like this is such a rare. This is so unique.
Kids are slow and BLM.
This is so
snowflake, liberal.
Triggered. I just like, bro. She broadened it, and he's still making it seem like
cancel culture.
She's saying something like, what are we saying?
I hate cancel culture.
The reality of it is that in terms of just like DV, there was like 20% of marriages that deal with it. In terms of just bopping in general, like regardless of marriage.
Why don't we make America great?
Making men great again is that was also very cringe. When it comes to DV and marriages, 20% of marriages deal with it, and that's just the ones that are being reported. Y'all telling people to endure, which for a huge portion of, especially in America, that was the case, that women and men, if they were in some term of DV, they would just endure. So 20% have actually been reported. Then you have the fact that sometimes they're not even married. They're still dealing with it. 1 in every 4 women have already dealt with this at some point in their life. 1 in every 4 women. And that's just the DV. This is
1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner contact sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking with impacts such as injury, fearfulness, post-traumatic.
Some point in their life. 1 in every 4 women. And that's just the DV. 1 in every 9 men have dealt with it as well. That's just DV, and that's only ones that have been reported. I know several men and women who have dealt with this individually on my own. And it's more, in my opinion, it's more than just 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 9 men. So the fact that you're making it seem like this is like this unique circumstance and y'all are in the world that y'all are trying to build, and that's why
they're just saying that because they don't have an answer. So there's like, that's so niche.
That's why it's cringe, because you're passing along something that regardless if you want to admit it or not, is very common.
I never see you talk about any of it, and like
this is
what's
why,
mental health is like.
Melina, I want to make the point. This is why I tell people that they need to find God and go to church, because it's like all of
bro.
these problems that you're describing, if somebody authentically has a relationship with Christ and they're living in alignment with the Word, like it's going to mitigate 99% of these issues.
But I do know conservatives that is going to church and they still abuse their partners.
Wait, hold on.
I'm asking you if you're going to stick up for those
you know
conservative. And what would you say? Would you tell them to divorce, or would you tell them to stick along in an abusive relationship?
You say you know conservative men right now that are beating their wives.
It's going to be a lot harder for you to divorce because you have the pressure to stick. Because you guys are saying like
beating their wives.
It's going to be a lot harder in an abusive relationship.
You say you know.
It just goes back so fast.
Conservative men right now.
Bro, shut up. You're not
beating their wives.
It's going to be a lot harder for you to divorce because you have the pressure to stick. Because you guys are saying like no matter what happens, you stick in the marriage, even though it might be.
But again,
really,
to go back, Melina,
Melina,
to go back to the point. Nev, 1 second. To go back to the point that I was making, you know, encouraging people to go to church. If somebody's in a situation like that, this is a concern that ought to be brought before the church and taken care of with the elders and the other people that are there. And like, let's say John is beating his wife, right? And his wife comes to the church leadership and she's like, hey, like, this is a problem.
With 2 black guys.
I want to divorce him.
Bro, why the black guys, bro? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, why do you keep adding that shit, you fucking weird ass nigga, bro? Like, yo, that is so fucking random. We're talking about like abuse and shit, and he's like, and the black guys.
You know,
nigga, what is he talking about?
He's cringe.
Like, bro.
He's cringe.
I can't stand it.
He's cringe.
Oh my god, he's like
literally making jokes of.
And the black guys. Like nigga, what is he talking about, bro?
And again, what's so crazier is that then y'all want people to believe that y'all would take this stuff serious, while one man is literally on the panel making fun of a woman.
Oh my.
That's what I'm saying. So like, he's literally hurting the the cause.
They need to pack him up because
he needs to pack him up.
He's making y'all look bad.
He's making y'all look much worse. How would anybody ever think that y'all would ever take these type of situations serious when there's a nigga on the stage right on the panel right now making light of it, and you think that I'm supposed to feel comfortable with coming to you all privately to deal with this stuff in real life, but there's somebody who's making light of it right now, and you're not saying anything. If anything, you laugh along with it.
The church leadership can step in and be like, "Yo, John, why are you beating your wife?"
Which honestly, I appreciate them asking. A lot of institutions wouldn't do that.
True. Yeah, there might be valid reasons,
and they ought to. And this is
I've already told her twice.
This is a positive. This is a positive.
Bro. You know what, bro? Let's just finish this video. I only got like 2 minutes, bro.
Social pressure that comes with being a part of the body of Christ and like actually being involved, right? Like there's so many benefits to people seeking God and going to church and like being a part of a community like that, where a situation like you're describing arising, like there's going to be a ton of social accountability. But when people are atomized and they're separated from the rest of their community and stuff, and they're, you know, they have like a secular conservative home, you don't have that social net to like protect people.
Used to get lynched for doing things like,
we're gonna wrap here pretty soon. We're gonna wrap here.
They cut that talking point out. They cut that one out. The lynching part.
So yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's his belief, and I'm fine with his belief. It's a very idealistic belief, but until we get to that point, buddy, no. And he agreed. You should leave. But the fact that like we even have to have this convo.
Yeah, the thing that made this funny for all of us watching is because when the woman wants to leave, there's a lot of resistance. There's questions about why is that bad? Is this that bad? Is this that bad? But
endure.
Yeah, you gotta endure.
Just
There's no way around it. You gotta endure.
It's a phase.
But when they brought up an example of should the man leave if the woman cheats, there's no resistance. It's immediately yes, of course. It's permissible. If they want to leave, they can leave. So you just need to keep it a buck both ways. Y'all look hypocritical when you don't. And if you really believe in what Jesus said, then he said a lot of things. It should apply to everything that he said. That's all I'm saying. I think they lost this argument, which is crazy because it's y'all job to have conversations. It doesn't mean you're supposed to be right. You know, you could lose some debates. You can't win them all at the end of the day. You could literally be the person that's correct and still lose a debate because you argued poorly. But I think in this circumstance, you just had people on the panel that made y'all look bad and dumb. And I think y'all look seriously hypocritical.
Y'all look
but
good.
it was comedy, I guess, for the rest of us watching.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Really, this is a no-brainer. I don't know why. Come on, like this should be a layup of a convo. Yeah, somehow, some way, you still gotta endure it and push through it, man. Make sure you push through that like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. And until next time, we'll see you all later. Peace.
Bro, this is hold up. Makes abuse a hard time is insane. It's crazy that people tend to be more accepting of physical abuse than cheating. And cheating should not be tolerated. It was a phase said by a man who never struggled through abuse. It just stays with you long after your abuser is dead and gone. Damn. But yeah, like, subscribe. See you guys later. This video. Yeah, bye.